Welcome to 2K Sports. I'm Damon Bruce. Glad to have you with us. Saturday in the NBA. It's Kevin Martin in the Houston Rockets going up against Danny Granger and the Indiana Pacers. And let's send things courtside to Kevin Harlan, who's in Indianapolis, ready to call the game.
Hi, everyone. Kevin Harlan here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. What a great Saturday night for the NBA on 2K Sports. We are in Indiana for some Pacers basketball. This hometown crowd ready to go. And the Houston Rockets starting five. Chase Budinger and Luis Scola are the forwards. Lowry and Martin manning the backcourt. And it's Hayes in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. And for the Pacers, Granger, Hansbrough, and Hibbert are the front court. Collison is out there with Paul George.
Well, the Pacers historically have always been tough on their home court, and last season was no different. 24-17 in Indianapolis. It's one of the reasons the Pacers made the playoffs.
And the Pacers start off with the ball. And Hansbrough kicks to Hibbert. Hansbrough inside. Knocks it loose.
He really didn't have the room there to make that pass, guys.
Yeah, the step back. Another shot. And Lowry gets it to go.
You know, the hardest part of that play was getting to the rebound. After that, it was easy.
Here's Collison, and it's Lowry with the rebound. Well, Clark, you know all about this Indiana team being in their front office. Dead last in attendance last season, averaging just a little over 13,000 fans. But the team gave the diehard fans something to care about with the playoff experience.
Yeah, they certainly did, and hopefully that'll catapult more fans into coming back to Conseco. In 2001, the team averaged almost 18,000 fans. If the team gets back to contention, you know Indiana loves basketball, and those fans will be back.
Moments ago, our Doris Burke had a chance to catch up with the coach, Frank Vogel. Doris?
Kevin, he said they're going to be leaning on their big men at the defensive end. They've demonstrated such tremendous shot-blocking ability that it really frees us up to take more chances on the perimeter, knowing we have that insurance policy down low. Guys, back to you.
Wonderful, Doris. Thanks. They're thinking about Clark and Steve, their defense, right off the bat here.
Yeah, you're never going to go wrong putting the bulk of your effort into getting stops. I mean, that always pays off.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if that's going to be the case, if they're going to bring that style and that type of energy, they've got to be ready to go deep into their bench tonight as well.
And Indiana has possession after the made shot from Kyle Lowry.
I'm just so impressed with the work Roy Hibbert has put in since his final year at Georgetown. He's lost a lot of weight. He's gotten himself in terrific condition, and he's a very skilled player down on the block.
Boy, that is a sweet feed from his teammate there.
Shoots from the baseline. Collison, no good. And Steve, you're right about Roy Hibbert. Last season got off to a hot start. He had lost about 25 pounds doing martial arts. All those different workouts associated with that over the summer. He also addressed a undetected asthma problem, which Clark helped his endurance.
Yeah, it did help his endurance, but I think as the season went on, Roy thought maybe he had gotten too light by year's end, and now he's gotten back up to around 260. And again, it's not just what you weigh, but it's what kind of strength you have and where is the weight. He needs a little more lower body strength to anchor him, and the right kind of weight and muscle is going to continue to allow him to be a very effective center in the NBA.
Budinger, no good. Indiana trailing here. And it's Hibbert missing. So it's Houston now. Outside Lowry. Outside Scola. Feeds it to Martin. 6 to shoot. Over George. The Rockets again can't hit. And here is Granger.
Well, the Rockets, like a lot of Western teams, really took advantage of their schedule versus the Eastern Conference. They went 18-12 versus Eastern Conference foes.
And Hayes kicks to Lowry. He's covered by Collison. And Lowry gets it to go. Lowry's got 6. And the Rockets playing against the East. Steve, you just told us those nice records, those nice wins they had. They really took advantage of that, Clark.
Yeah, they did. The Eastern Conference is tough at the top, but it still has probably almost twice as many bad teams as the West does. I mean, you look at it and you see a number of teams over 500 in the West. There's 2 or 3 teams don't make the playoffs in the West with better than 500 records. And the Rockets know they needed every win they could get, and they didn't overlook anybody for the most part.
Brandon Rush, he's checked in for Indiana. Hill comes in for Darren Collison. And then for Houston, Patrick Patterson, he's checked in for Hayes. And it's Lee in for Kevin Martin. That's good from Budinger.
You know, for the Pacers last season, they really had a difficult time against Western Conference teams. I mean, only going 9-21 in those matchups.
Backing down is Hibbert. Hill. Back to Hibbert. Takes it up. Straight up. Can't get it to go. Excellent D there for Scola. We talked about the troubles, Clark, against the Western Conference. For whatever reason, Steve, they struggled to defend Western Conference opponents.
Well, I thought the biggest thing was the West was so much deeper than the East last year, Kevin. The East had some strong teams at the top, but overall, a weaker field of teams. When you go out West, and on a nightly basis, you're going against a really tough team. I think that's the disparity in the numbers for Indiana. It's been a little too easy for them inside, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I mean, they've really dictated the action in the paint. That's been their focus, and the defense hasn't mounted much resistance at all.
Now, here is Hill. Lowry picks him up. Hill dishes to Hibbert. That's good.
Well-executed possession. They controlled the shot. Nicely done.
And here we go with Kyle Lowry. From outside the arc, he beats the buzzer with a fantastic shot.
Major guts right there, fellas. I mean, that's what it takes to bury a big shot like that. You got to be confident and composed.
Yep, no hesitation, no second thoughts. He just lets it fly.
And as the first quarter wraps up, already a double-digit lead. Rockets lead by 10.
Yeah, the defense has been terrific. They came out right from the beginning, alert and focused, and they've been really good at that end of the floor.
And I think the coach has to be pleased with the effort on that end of the floor. It's been very good.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. A lopsided first quarter in the books already as we start the second quarter. Here is Lowry. It's a 10-point game. So on the floor for Houston. Lee out there with Lowry. That's Hayes. Then there's Patrick Patterson. And it's Martin in at the 3 slot. Now here is Lowry. And there's the pass to Lee. And it's blocked.
And they're struggling a little bit on the glass. They've got to pick up their physical play in the paint.
Yeah, it's about being tougher and more physical, just as you said, Steve. If they can do that better, they've got a chance to come back.
Now let's go to Doris Burke. Doris?
Well, guys, Courtney Lee, a highly regarded young player, he's bounced around the NBA more than he might have expected. But he got his start with the Magic. That was the team that drafted me and got me into the NBA. I got off to a good start with them, and my reputation built around the league playing with them. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for those guys. In his rookie season, he started for the Magic and helped them make it all the way to the NBA Finals. Easy to see why he has such fond memories of playing in Orlando, guys.
A great run in just his first season. Great stuff, Doris. Thank you.
Well, he got his foot in the door with defense and that corner 3, and he's a guy who should be in this league for many years to come.
So it's Houston now. The Pacers making the shot. They set the screen. Just 5 to shoot. They get...
A monster throwdown. Wow. Boom. Now that is a spectacular dunk. I mean, you got the glide, you got the power, you got the full package.
All of it. I mean, look how high he got.
You just don't see that kind of elevation every day.
Hill against Lowry. Hill passes to Hansbrough, and he converts the layup. Hansbrough's got his second basket.
Offensively, just hammering away in the paint.
And that's 10 straight points inside, too.
I like what the Rockets have done with their roster. They've got a lot of talent, but league where superstars really put you over the top. That's one thing Houston has not been able to accomplish, finding a star player.
And now the first timeout called here for the Rockets. Steve is a GM formerly in this NBA with Phoenix. You know all about that, trying to get other players to come to your team. And last season, the Rockets certainly were in the mix with Carmelo Anthony. They've thrown their hat in the ring, Clark, trying to get some star players down there.
Yeah, they have, but, the right deal just didn't seem to present itself. They've said now they'll try to build around the pieces they have, but with that minutes crunch, no surprise to see them keep trying to land that big-time star.
Here's Martin, looking for his first bucket of the game. Open look, shot's good. And the Rockets lead by 8.
That time the defenders were a little lazy getting to him.
Here's Indiana. 8-point game. Hill kicks to Granger. Right up. Rockets with the rebound.
And what I love about Danny Granger is he's really good at both ends of the floor. A versatile defender. He can rebound. And, of course, offensively, he's dynamic.
Here's Dragic. He's picked up by Hill. The shot by Martin. Second chance shot. Hill pulls it in.
Great job defending the hoop there.
So important to have
And he puts it down with authority. Spike slam cam for another angle.
Boy, that dunk got everybody up off their seat.
Oh, they're loving it, aren't they, Steve?
Well, how could they not? I mean, he put the cherry on top of the sundae on that one.
Well, I love Paul George's game. From Palmdale, California, north of L.A., a 6'8" athletic wingman. I think he's got a chance to be a two-way star in the NBA.
That free throw good from George. Clark, going back to Paul George, drafted 10th by the Pacers back in 2010. They really needed another elite scorer to pair with Danny Granger. And so, Steve, they took a flyer on George.
Well, and I think what's interesting, Kevin, is that they didn't really get the scoring from him, but what they got was an excellent defender. And during that Chicago series in the first round of the playoffs, they relied on Paul George to cover Derrick Rose at times during that series, really utilizing his great length and athleticism on the defensive end.
Here's Dragic. He's guarded by Hill.
2 minutes.
The three ball. And the shot is good.
You can't just get a hand up. You've got to anticipate what he's doing before he shoots.
So the Pacers call timeout, their first of the game.
I think it was really exciting for this Pacers team getting into the postseason last year for the first time in 5 years, guys. I mean, the youth helped as we saw the passion come out in that Game 4 win against the Bulls. And I thought they competed very well in that series and have some promise going forward.
Some changes for Indiana. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Foster. Dunleavy comes in for Danny Granger. And it's Collison in for George Hill. And then for Houston, Chuck Hayes, he's checked in for Hill. Budinger checks in for Kevin Martin. And it's Lowry in for Courtney Lee. Here's Collison, still looking to get on the scoreboard. Clark, I agree with you. Brought the Pacers making it into the postseason. They were the 8th seed, but really did a good job against a very talented Chicago team, Steve.
Yeah, very tough opponents. Anytime you're going up in that first round against a team like the Bulls as an 8th seed, you get to see what a team like that's made of. And I think that young Pacers squad really accounted for itself in a good way in that playoff run. We'll see if they can take advantage and really have a good season this year.
And a chance here to catch up with the 4th member of our crew, Doris Burke. Hi, Doris.
Hi, Kevin. Well, one of the bright spots for the Houston Rockets was that they led the league in assists. They implemented a new offense that allowed them to do so. Guard Kyle Lowry said, "I think we feel we can always get good shots. We can run the offense, but we have to execute and make hard cuts and make the right plays." Always a formula for good offense, Kevin.
Thank you, Doris. It's a fun team to watch when their offense is fired.
Boy, they sure are, Kevin. I remember watching Houston games last year and just being amazed at how well the ball moved. I mean, they really distribute the ball and share it together.
Good on both.
You know, the Rockets have tried to be as efficient as possible acquiring talent on the cheap. I mean, trying to be really economical there. Their whole philosophy has been to acquire undervalued players. Quite possibly their thinking is they can facilitate a trade for a difference maker.
Out of bounds. They'll keep possession. .115 left to play here in the second quarter. Well, going back to the Rockets and their fiscal discipline, here's a good guy to talk about this to my side here, Steve Kerr. Some of the former players were, Steve, frustrated by the Rockets' refusal to extend contracts.
Well, you have to be prudent with your decision-making. And when you don't have a great team like Houston, you've got to make sound decisions. And I think that's the right way to go. Unless you have a championship team, you can't really extend yourself, because then you tie yourself up and there's no room for improvement.
Tyler Hansbrough's checked in for Indiana. And then for Houston, Patrick Patterson. He's checked in for Scola. Martin comes in for Goran Dragic. And Johnny Flynn is subbed in for Kyle Lowry. It's stolen by Dunleavy.
That's just a horrible decision. You got to be more patient with the ball.
Shoot it!
Hansbrough inside. Patterson defending. Hansbrough, that's good. And now it's just a 4-point Rocket lead. Now Flynn. And there's the feed to Hayes. Five on the clock. Charity stripe shot. And he gets the jumper to drop. Buddinger's got 5 now.
Not much resistance for him after that pick, Kevin. I mean, he had all sorts of space to hit the shot.
Collison up top. Covered by Flynn. Collison dishes to Hibbert. Nice fake, but the layup off the mark.
Clearly, he's one of the best rebounders we've got, guys, and his finishing ability, second to none.
Well, his reputation precedes him in that regard, don't you think, Steve?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just standard stuff for him.
Shooting for Indiana, Tyler Hansbrough. Shooting 1.
Well, free throw drops for Hansbrough. Heaves it up. Martin. The shot is off.
Good game for Lowry. He's got 11 points, and he's been able to hit the 3-ball, picking up 1 from deep so far.
Well, the three-point shot has become so important in today's NBA game, and teams are shooting more and more of them. When you can knock them down, it really puts pressure on that defense.
Back in a moment from Indianapolis.
Thanks so much for joining us for HP at the Half. I'm Damon Bruce with a terrific game going on in Indiana. The Rockets in a hard-fought game against the Indiana Pacers. Tenacious offensive rebounding. Their second chance points are piling up. Some terrific basketball from Kyle Lowry. He has 11 points, added 3 rebounds as well. And slugging it out so far, the Indiana Pacers. It's been a scintillating open court attack. They hold a major advantage in fast break points. A valuable contribution so far by Tyler Hansbrough. He's up to 9 points. Just as important, he's been shooting with excellent efficiency. The two players who've had an easy time finishing off around the rim, here are your leading scorers. That's all for us here in the studio. Let's get back out to Kevin and the crew. Thanks so much for joining me.